What's this? Western Sigmund's been building a layout? Surely not. Hello, welcome to my channel, Western Sigmund. I'm James, and as you may have gathered from the start of this video, I have indeed started building a new 00 gauge layout. Yes, I've actually got round to doing it. It's been a long time coming. I think last year in May, I ripped the flooring out of this room. I took the old layout down, the second attempt, which had remained stagnant for about 2 years. I just completely lost inspiration for that one. Since then, everything got put back in, but nothing got done, and I'm glad it didn't, because it turned out that the flooring problem was still a problem come November. So everything came out again, and the flooring came up and fixed the problem, and it's all come back in. So I have started building a layout. It's been some time since I've done any videos on what I've been up to. I've done a few exhibition videos. I think the last one was in the Gaydon show, the Great British Model Railway show. Appreciate people watching that. And I didn't do Wally. That's because the boy came along with me, and it's a big day out, and it's a big day out for him, so it just wasn't feasible. Had I known it would have been the last Wally, I might have done things different, but there we go. So, what have I been up to? Well, I have been doing a lot of weathering, and I did make videos for it. I did some VGA vans based on a train I saw go by. I think it was the Bicester to Fenny Compton MOD train. I filmed it, I watched it back, and I thought, I can model those vans, that'd be really good. And I did record how I did it, but I think I lost my mojo for doing videos for a bit. And I talked to SPJ from Path, we met up, and we were saying about weathering videos, and there's sort of a curiosity because people ask for weathering videos, but no one ever watches them. No one really watched the Class 66 one I did, and I've done others before. I think one of the worst performing videos I have is weathering sea cows. It has about 300 views. I don't think I did a bad job of them, but there we go. No one wants to watch it. No one's got sea cows and want weathering, probably. So, yeah, I have been doing other things. Layout-wise, I've been building an N-gauge layout for the boy, and that's because the 00 gauge layout, that I did a couple of years ago, we decided it was too big for his room. He left it just with a corridor between the bed and the layout for him to play with other toys, and it was just dominating the room, so we decided to go N-gauge. He's kept his bits, his 00 gauge bits, they're all stored away, just in case he might want them later on. But for now, he's just got a little N-gauge layout up his bedroom. We based it on the layout Sandy Bay. If you've not seen that layout, I can show you a few shots now of it. But yeah, Sandy Bay is based on the now closed, I think they call it the Ash Line or something like that. It ran between, top of my head, I think it was Scarborough to Middlesbrough. I have to double check. It was somewhere along there, but it was along the Yorkshire coast, called like Whitby, Rawlinson Bay, places like that. It's a very inspirational line, and I really do like the layout of Sandy Bay as well. So we've done a Great Western version of Sandy Bay, sort of copied the track plan and that, and I've been working on that. It's taken some time to do, but we're getting there on that one. And I've done a few bits of video on that, but again, which just seems to have lost mojo for the videos. So here I am with my build. So yep, I've got some baseboards up. This is going to be the fiddle yard, and I'm going to do. You probably guessed from the fact that I've been like weathering Class 66s that I've moved. I'm going to do modern era. So previous layouts have always been an attempt at Network Southeast around the 90s, but I have nostalgia for it. But the TT layout build that I was doing was going to be present day. And I say was because I've given up on the TT. The layout's gone that I was working on. So sorry for anyone out there that was enjoying that build, but I wasn't. I just lost interest in it because I think next week is a year since the Easterner train set turned up, and since then I've gained, in addition to that, another Mark 1 coach and one 08 shunter. It's just boring. There's nothing to run. You know, there's no point building a layout for nothing to run on it, because it's just a diorama. Then if I want to do dioramas, I've got a pile of Star Wars kits I'll build dioramas with. You know, I want to do that. So yeah, you know, one manufacturer trickling out these models so slowly. It just, no, it's not for me. I can't wait. I'm not that patient. And so yeah, TT is gone. The layout's been ripped up. I've actually stolen the board. It's over there. It's part of this layout now. That's it done. But it did lead me to wanting to model Modern Era. So yeah, I pre-ordered all the Class 66s, the GBRF 50 and all that. Oh, that'd be great. This is wonderful. And I started being inspired by watching videos on YouTube, particularly Diggle Junction. I absolutely love Diggle Junction. Some great videos there. Again, if you've not seen that channel, please go watch Diggle Junction. He's got some great videos. It just films trains passing through Diggle Junction. He does venture off route every now and again. Last time I think he went to Eastleigh for 24 hours to celebrate the amount of, I think, 3,000 subscribers or something like that. So does sort of do videos like that. He's done a Doncaster one before, 24 hours in Doncaster. So yeah, that's a great channel. But yeah, really inspiring. I absolutely love the videos, and just watching the trains running through the Pennines, and I thought, yeah, I want to model that. I want to model something like that, and sort of something a little bit East Coast as well, because I mean, my son absolutely loves Class 91s, and I've got a soft spot for them as well. And I really like the Batman Class 90s and the 92s that Curious Go had done, and I thought I wouldn't mind having a go at some overhead modelling. So yeah, I decided I'm not going to keep the the Network Southeast stuff's going to go. I love it, Network Southeast. As I say, nostalgia. I remember as a kid the bubble cars and the 117 going on the Bedford to Bletchley line and riding on them and that. But yeah, it was. I always found it really hard to get a layout design based around sort of Western region, Network Southeast. And I think it's because I work the Western region, I know it really well, and I'd always find a flaw with my plan, per se. You know, I want a Class 58 on a merry-go-round train, and I want a Class 59 on a stone train. Well, the only places they ever met was Oxford and Didcot Way, really. Otherwise, they never crossed paths. So, you know, I designed a plan that might be between Swindon and Newbury as a slight sort of extension line or something, you know, and be like, well, that wouldn't exist, or those trains wouldn't run there, and you know, it would always just result in me just poo-pooing the idea. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do the TT. I really like the idea of doing Modern Era. I really like the idea of doing something Pennines based, and the added advantage is I don't know that area well enough for me to then go, well, that wouldn't run there, that wouldn't do that. I can just model what I want and not feel pressured by myself to get it right, so to speak. So that's what I've decided to do. I've drawn a plan, and I had several goes. In fact, I'll show you my original, and I actually built a 3D plan. So this was the original idea that was going to go in the room. It took me ages to come up with this idea, and I had so many elements I wanted in it. I wanted to preserve railway, because I've got some steam engines, and I think, you know, nowadays it's the law to have a preserve railway on your model railway, because everyone seems to be doing it. But yeah, I wanted to preserve railway, and then that meant I could keep some of my old, you know, some of the NSE stuff that I didn't want to sell. Like I've got the Class 101 by Bachmann. I absolutely love that model. And a couple of times I put it in the two-sail pile, was like, and then it would creep back over in the keep pile. And I realised I don't want to actually sell that. I love that model. So I wanted something where I could run these models around, so I wanted to preserve railway. So on this plan, the preserve railway was going to be at the bottom here in blue. I don't know if you can see that, bring it a bit closer. So blue is the overhead lines, what would be, I suppose, East Coast Main Line, because I'm going to have Class 91s running on there. And then the pink is the non-electrified lines, which included going round to, this is quite difficult because the cameras mirrored everything. So yeah, over here we've got a cement works, and then we had sidings for it here. We just used this track work here and the loop here for the diesel shunter to sort the wagons out. And then the non-electrified line climbed up. This is the only bit I didn't build in 3D, to a station up here. And then the East Coast main line went down here, and then it's on a climb to the feeder yard underneath, and the same as it comes around here, climbs underneath. And there'll be feeder yard underneath, and you can see I tried to plan it all out. And this was the advantage of doing this in the 3D model. It took absolutely ages to make, but it did point out that my plan wouldn't work in this design. The gradients would clash with each other and certain lines wouldn't pass with each other. I did redraw a new fiddle yard plan that would work. Unfortunately, I have no idea what I did with it. I misplaced it when I cleared this room out. Disappeared. But I decided not to go with this because it's quite complex. I think a larger room, a wider room, would probably, this might work. The idea was over here, this is the entrance into the room, there'd be a swing gate here, and this bit here, it would be on casters, and you could just push it that way, come into the room, push it back, and then you're in the operating area here. But as it was going to be overhead and a viaduct, I started realising that that's far too complicated a design, and I really don't have the time probably to build something so epically large. So I kept in mind the elements on this that I wanted, and I tried to put them on new plans. I drew a few plans, and mostly I used this as my inspiration. CJ Freeze's track plans book. As you can see, it's very well worn. I've gone through it so many times, trying to use his ideas, and they do give good ideas. But the difference with these plans and how people model today is most people will decide that they are going to do a station. My room's not big enough for anything other than a station and maybe a depot. You very rarely see a route. I don't recall many modelers that do routes, not this side of the pond. You look at American railroad modelers, and I do love watching their videos too, and I find it very inspiring. And European modelers as well, although it's quite difficult because obviously trying to search these things on YouTube, you have to put it in their language. So if I use, I think, model barn, I'll get German model railways of some description, but again, it's sort of hit and miss of what I find. But there can be very inspiring layouts, and they have different ideas of how to build how a British modeler models. So American railroad modelers do what they call operational layouts, and the idea being that the trains are actually doing work on the layout. You know, they come out the fiddle yard, but then you know, if they got I think they call them manifest trains, which would be our old, I suppose, mixed goods or speedlink style trains, and they spot cars, as it's various industries along the route, and the train would do certain things. And I mean, there's even other layouts that like had I saw one that had like it sort of detected faults or pretended there'd be a fault in a train. So a train would pass over this detector, and then this detector would decide that car number 7 has got a hot axle box. So then you'd have to stop the train and like follow the rules of what you'd have to do, and you know, remove that car because the axles run hot and they have to be dumped in a siding or something like that. And it wasn't just watching the trains go round; it was actually running a railway. And I thought, you know, that's what I want to do. It's I suppose it's a busman's oddity for me, but the idea was that actually I want my lab to be operational, and the trains to actually, if they're running, they're doing it for a reason. And that's kind of when I like CJ Freeze's plans, because when you look at them, and in particular I've picked the worst page, in which doesn't have what I'm talking about whatsoever. I mean, somebody's pick a plan. I'm trying to find something a bit smaller. The smaller plans have them. Even the smaller plans, right? So take this one, for example. We start here, we climb down here, we've got another station here, all right? And then we go under here, we've got another station here, or in this case, there's a loop, so we can go around and pretend we're going to the station several times before terminating here. And, you know, that's 8 foot by 6 foot, and he's built a journey into the layout. And that's what I wanted. I thought, and that's where this plan's come from. The idea here was, I want the journey So I was willing to make that sacrifice of the compromise that I don't have the room to model, 25 scale miles, and not many people do. But one location is okay and it's really nice and you can model it really well and you can have it highly detailed, and I respect and appreciate modelers that do model like that, but I thought, no, this time I want that train set element in there. I want that little bit of fun, because this hobby is supposed to be fun, and I think that's one of the reasons I fall out of love with my previous plans, is they weren't fun. So, I'd have these ideas and I was like, to get a bit bored of it because it's got one station. And that's what this was meant to be. We start here at this station, we come around here, we stop at this station, we come around here, we've got this station, then we disappear into the field yard. So I couldn't do an entire end-to-end run, but I got a rough idea of, a representation of it. At least the trains are doing something. The goods trains could come around here, they could be sorted here and things like that. I thought that's what I want. So I looked through the book and there's one plan that just kept calling to me, and it's this one here, plan number 23. You have this book to number 23. I say number 23, it could be a different number, because these books do sometimes have a different number to what's written in the text. But I really like the idea of this, the length of run you're getting out of the room by the fact that it comes around here, it goes around there, and then comes back around there like that. And I thought, well, you know what? I like that. I really like that idea. So I played this idea. I didn't want this completely, and I thought about having a round to round, just so I could watch the trains run round if I want to. And then I realised, so I was like, well, hang a minute. If I had the fiddle yard underneath, I could come up here, join this line here, and then turn trains round here, run that way, or if I've got a roundy they can just join here, go round and round, and when I want to send them back, I can put them on this return loop and send them back into the fiddle yard and just use this one-track feed. Now, I think the one-track feed would actually work quite nicely. The downside of one-track feed is it limits the operation of trains, but then again, when you think about how railways are run, or if you are out train spotting, particularly on two-track lines, the amount of times that two trains pass each other is, I think, quite rare. And so realistically, if you did have one feed from the fiddle yard, the fact that you're waiting maybe a minute for one train to go down into the fiddle yard and another one come back out probably isn't that bad. But my plan evolved from that idea, and it was simply because I had decided just to take a quick look at this book. I bought it a long time ago. It's a very good book. It's by Paul A Lunn. If you don't know Paul A Lunn, I think he does most of the model railway magazines with track plans and ideas and that. I suspect he probably does the Peco set track plans books as well, because his work seems to cross over quite a bit in relation when you look at articles and magazines and stuff. And I had a quick look, and this is good for, if you just want a track plan, then this is not the book for you. That's the book for you. If you want ideas of how to design your own layout, then this is the book for you, because this gives you food for thought. This makes you think about the sort of composition of layout building, and the compromises and how to get things to work. And it's a very good read. And it was this picture at the back, this one here, that gave me the inspiration for my layout, because I looked at it and I thought, I really like that. And then I realised, I went, well, that's not actually too different to my idea. And I liked that this has got like 5 stations, I think, all in the space of a garage. And I appreciate it's like 2 car lengths, and I want to run, 7 to 8 car HSTs and 91s, etc. Although I don't have many of them, although the freight trains could be a problem, but I'll worry about that later. But I thought, I really like this idea. It's not too it's quite similar to what I've come up with, but slightly evolved. I like that the track's gone underneath here and it pops out here. I like this bit here, this little separate scene. I liked how the layout was broken up into different areas. They were all so close together, yet the way he's designed it and made it looks like they're separated and the train is really travelling on a nice long journey. And I thought, yeah, you know what, I want to do something like that too. So it took a while. I took my current plan, I played around with it, I played around with this idea. The idea I wanted was maybe this line around here was actually the East Coast Main Line. It disappeared under here and it just went round and round. And later on, as I thought about the plans, I realised that it wouldn't work because this baseboard here would prevent any access, because I was going to have like a little fiddle yard for the East Coast Main Line here. You wouldn't be able to get to it. So it'd be a disaster. And so in the end, I came up with this. Now, I appreciate, looking at the clock, I have been rambling on for 20 minutes, and if you are still watching, I really do appreciate that. It's been a lot of talking. I will show you what I have been doing in a moment, and I'll show you a bit of the boys' Engage layout as well. But this is the track plan I come up with. No, it's not final. It's not as well detailed as, say, that other track plan I showed you with 3D model. I've not even color coded the tracks, and that's because I couldn't decide on certain elements, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have this basic idea, and then as I build it, I'm gonna let the ideas flow and be flexible with it. And the way I'm gonna be able to do that is the bottom is obviously hard top baseboards. The next level, I'm going to use open top framework on regards to L girder, they called it. And so I'm going to use L girder, which will allow me to redesign and reconfigure the layout in the way I want it when I get to it. So let me talk you through the plan. I'm going to have the fiddle yards underneath. So the incline is going to climb up like a giant helix around the room. The whole room is one helix. So you come up from the fiddle yard, we'll keep climbing, until we pop out here. This goes around the back. There's a fiddle yard here for the preserved railway. So this bit here is just a loop of track, which is going to be my preserved railway. And I'll talk about that in a second, why it's like that. So yeah, the track comes around here, it splits here, so we've got another loop there. So we come into the station, and then I'm going to have some sidings here. I'm not quite sure what's going to go there. Maybe a DMU depot, or just some stabling roads, or possibly a virtual quarry, but I don't think we've got enough space for the quarry. And then we're going to continue going down here, and I'm going to have a viaduct, I think, about here. I think this is the only space I can put a viaduct without interfering too much with the fiddle yard underneath. And so it comes around here to what will be a swing gate. So I'm going to have a swing gate to open to walk in, because double level, I can't have lift up flap. I don't want to keep ducking in and out either. So I've decided a gate will probably be the best way to get into the room. And then we come down here. I'm probably going to have a station here. And then we go back underneath. It starts then descending back towards the fiddle yard through here. I'm considering having a canal here. I did think about having another station, but the fact that there's a station there and there, that just seems a bit silly, especially if you've got really long trains. Like one end would be in this station, one end would be in this station. So I thought, yeah, I might just make this nice little canal scene or something like that. Again, it still descends all the way under here until we get to here, and have another station here. This will probably be something like a cement works or the virtual quarry, something like that, and then pop underneath the main baseboards back down towards the fiddle yard. So, preserved railway is just a loop of track with a couple of fiddle yard roads at the back. There's an engine shed there and a station there. And the idea of that is, well, as I said, I wanted somewhere to run the engines, but also it means the boy can use it, and I can use it to test locos as well. So it's just around just for loco testing. So it's got several purposes of existing. But the idea is the boy can come in and he can run his engines round on that loop without interfering with the main line, and then, you know, the complexities of what will be the fiddle yard underneath. So that's those sort of ideas there. I've got spaces in various spots. I'm thinking about ideas, possibly a turntable here. I know it's unlikely to be a turntable there, but I have a spare turntable, as you do. And I thought maybe I could put one there just for fun, just so you can just turn your engines around. Down here, I'm thinking about having a junction and then another line going this way, and then popping underneath the main line here, and either having a shuttle system just so it goes into the station in and out for DMUs, or possibly going around there, DMUs and freight trains, they go underneath, and then we have a return loop underneath here, providing I've got the clearance to get my head underneath. because obviously I'm going to have to duck under this bit. There'll be no lifting flap, no fancy caster pushing. It's just too big and complex. It's just going to be solid. So that is the plan. I've taken a lot of inspiration and ideas from what I'm going to model from various books, such as this one. I want to model this bridge. I quite like the idea that I'll probably go on the swing gate. And this is a lovely book. And this book, absolutely love this book. Really highly recommend it. It's called Trains in the Landscape, and it literally is. Some of the photos are just, they are pictures of the landscape, absolutely gorgeous landscape. There just happens to be a train in it, such as this photo here, where there's a train there, but look, there's a lovely view. So I've been finding this book very inspiring as well. So I appreciate it's been 25 minutes now. I've been rambling on. This is quite a long video of just a person talking to you, and I'm now going to move on and show you my progress through the build. Now I have obviously time traveled, and this will be back in time. I'm not gonna lie, I have already done, I think this could be my 20th attempt at this. I tried to make this as short as possible, and I still keep rambling on up to a half an hour every time I try. And unfortunately, the last one, I realised there was something up here that was actually revealing my son's name, which I don't want to do on the internet. I know someone asked me in the comment section why I always call him the boy. I call him the boy because, you know, for his safety. In my opinion, he's too young to be exposed to the internet. So that's why, if anyone's ever wondering why he gets called the boy, you know, I don't call him that in real life. So, yeah, I'm going to go back in time, show you the start of the layout build. I'll show you a little bit of the boys' layout, the Engage build. There's a bit of talk about dismantling the Millennium Falcon. If you've seen previous videos, you probably see I have a giant Lego, the UCS Millennium Falcon. It's massive. It has nowhere to go in the house. It now has nowhere to go in here. I've got to work out what I'm going to do with that at some point. But that's another story. So yeah, thanks for listening to my ramblings. I'm going to show you how I've been getting on, and see you at the end of the video. Okay, so this is the boys' Engage layout that we've been building for him. You have to excuse the mess. We do have a squadron of X-Wings down here. It is a copy of the Sandy Bay layout. As I said, it's not quite the same dimensions. That was built on a old flush door, I believe. This is, top of my head, 3 foot wide and 5 foot long, and designed to split down the middle. This control panel comes off, but as you can see, it's just a loop, passing loops in the station. Hard difference to the track plan there is we've got a platform on this side, and then we've got sidings here to a goods shed. Currently going to an engine shed on here, but I don't think the engine shed will stay. That's a bit too close to the water's edge. That'll be where we can load wagons and unload wagons onto boats. And then you can see the boy's been experimenting with buildings of how he might like his layout to look, although I don't think the station master is going to approve living next to 2 giant fuel tanks. So I'll take you over here. We've got the river. Here we'll have a level crossing. So come out the tunnel, over the level crossing, over the river. There's another bridge there for the cars. Got the loops here for the station. Passing through, as I say, there's the sidings. And then we move out past the quay, or the bay, harbour, whatever you like to call it. And over another bridge. And this obviously goes out to sea here. This will be the sea here. Until we pass the seaside town or village. And dive back into the tunnel. So that's a track plan. It's just a very simple plan, but he's very happy with it. I did ask him if he wanted double track, in particular because Father Christmas bought him his favourite engine, Mallard, and I did ask him if he maybe wanted double track, so to race Mallard round, but no, he wants to stick to the branch line. He's quite happy, so no changes required there. We do need to do something about the fiddle yard. We're having a few issues there with the new arrivals of engines. The fiddle yard was built when we only had Percy, the pannier tank, and the engine that started it all, which I've repainted, renumbered as Dumbleton Hall. This old Farish Hall here, that was his first N-Gage loco. He got it as a reward for doing well at school. And since then, these engines have arrived, and Mallard does not like the fiddle yard whatsoever. So the plan was slightly different. Originally, we were going to have a bay platform here, we were going to have an engine shed here, and it made use of the Peco set track points. But I don't know what it is about the curved set track points. They don't work for me. Whenever I use them, doesn't matter what scale, they always seem to go disastrously wrong. And in this case, lots of things were derailing. In particular, this loco here. But I suspect the problem may actually be this loco. So it came from the Daypole returns section when they were at the International N-Cage show. It was £30 and it was listed as a handrail detail missing. I thought, wow, that'll be all right. And yet when I inspected it, there's a handrail knob missing just here. However, what wasn't mentioned was that this will not go around a curve. It will just derail every time. Doesn't matter the size of the curve, it derails. Absolute nightmare. I've checked the back-to-backs. I'm not quite sure why it does it. If someone has any idea, and please suggest down below, because we would like to get it running. But, you know, if we can't, it's not the end of the world. It was £30. I took a gamble on it. So, yep, this is the layout. It's all isolated sections rather than DCC, although once I show you the wiring, I'll tell you why I wish I'd made it DCC. Yeah, this is the wiring for the layout. It took forever, and it had to be rewired because obviously I changed the track plan. And then everything's got to be split in the middle because the layout breaks down. And also the control box can be put on either side, so you could work it from fiddle yard side or from scenic side. And then we also have the point motors, and well, we've got some electric uncouplers as well, but they don't work very well. They get stuck in the air and shoot up really high, like they derail the wagon. So, yeah, that's the electronics. With the possibility of rebuilding the fiddle yard, the electronics might get sort of simplified, but we shall see. As you can see, it's all a bit of a mess in here at the moment. As I say, the storage boxes, there's baseboards that need to come apart. The track needs to come off that. I'm going to reuse some of that wood if it's some other wood stored in the shed. And then I'm going to have the horrendous task of taking that Millennium Falcon apart because I can't think of any other way of building the layout with that in the room. And that thing took me like 2 weeks to build. But there we go. So that's how I'm going to make a start on this layout. So, apologies for the sound of the heater, but it's absolutely freezing today, so I'm just warming up the room. I have packed the Millennium Falcon away, and now I am ready to go and start building my layout. So, I spent last night drawing out some plans of the baseboards, and I'm going to start with this one here, which goes around the pillar here. And that's mostly because I've already got a board knocked up from before that went round it. It just needs to be shortened in width. As you can see, I've just planned out the fiddle yard boards, and they're all a bit chunky in places, but I'll just have a nice little smooth angle made of ply just to tidy everything up when it's all built. But it was just roughly to get the idea of where the boards were going to go. The only area I haven't done here is this bit because I need to work out how I'm going to do this. This is going to be a swing gate. I saw it on, I think it's NS Modeler 24. They have a swing gate on their layout. I'm sure it's that one, and it looks a lot better than a lifting flap. And the fact that the gate just opens, you can have the scenery on it, nothing's affected. It just swings out that way and back in that way. So that's the plan for that. But as I say, I'm going to make a start on this board first, and then probably work my way that way around the room. And as I build the boards, I can then start moving the stuff that's piled up in the corner out of the way, so then start putting the baseboards down there. So, away I go. Right then, it's the next day. Excuse the mess, but that's the way it goes when building layouts. Now, I've kind of cheated really, because I've had these baseboards already pre-built. And it's just been a case of cutting this one down to the same size as this one. Now, originally my drawings was 1.5 foot. These boards were made to 50 centimetres. They were originally over the other side of the room when this was going to be the station approach. And I thought, well, I'm not going to take this all apart for the sake of shaving off 4 centimetres. So I've just pulled this one out to make it 50 centimetres as well. And then I've been cleaning up this board, taking the track off that one. The biggest job is going to be this board, which obviously has the TT gauge on it. I've decided for economic purposes to remove the TT and keep the board so I can use that as it's already all cut to size and as I want it. And as I say, I've fallen out of love with TT, to be honest. It's just, it's not going to happen for me, I don't think. So that's as far as I've got so far. It's taken a little while, but these things always do. I'm slowly progressing around the room. So apart from this gap here, where I need to build the gated area, the baseboards are in for the fiddle yard. It wasn't too bad a job. It was actually quite quick, especially because I took advantage of the older baseboards and took some of the more unique shapes and made them fit the new plan. And just by coincidence, it worked out. In this area here, for example. So it's all coming around there. All pretty much matches up with the top design. So I need to work onto the gate. I'm also going to be painting these baseboards black, which was a little tip I picked up off a model railway video from an American modeler. It was one of those sort of, I think it was on a video, it could be in a book, because I've got a couple of books as well. But basically, they paint everything black. It's like a museum effect. So your eyes are drawn and focus on the actual scenery rather than what's around it. So I'm going to try that theory. Obviously, I need to sort this storage out underneath. It's an absolute mess. I want some storage cupboards or something, because while those boxes are useful for holding models, they're not very easy to get your models out. So we'll see. Yeah, so next job really is to build the gate, paint in black, and start working on the incline. So that is as far as I've got. Obviously the baseboards are up. I need to work on the swing gate. I need to paint the baseboards. I think I probably need to paint them before I start building the inclines. I've still got to work out how I'm going to do the inclines. I've got an idea. I think, as I described it as a giant helix, I think I am going to build it literally like a giant helix and use rods to build up the incline till I get to the top, and then we'll have the L girders built above, and that will be where the scenic will go. So that'll be next time, if I get any further. And as I say, if you want to see more on the N-gauge layout, then please comment below if you want to see that. Otherwise, I'll just leave that one. And if you want to see any more videos, then click the subscribe button. If you like this video and you didn't mind me talking for God knows how long, then please click the like button. And hopefully I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.